Thank you for coming. It's great to be back in Stockholm. I used to live here, and it's so bizarre to stay in a hotel in the neighborhood where I used to live, where I basically paid for one night what I paid for the rent for the whole month. But it's great to be back, and it's great to see that everything is still beautiful. I love the underground here. It's like being in Star Trek, the original series, with all these stones coming down and stuff. It's just amazing. And I lived in England, and when I came here, in England, as soon as you go on the train, your mobile phone is dead. And here it's still on, and people use it all the time. That's what cracks me up. You sit on the train with people talking on the phone next to you, and you're like, this is rude. I don't understand you, so I'm happy about that, but this is weird. Anyways, back to the topic here. We're talking about from Terminator to Star Trek, about machine learning and how we can use it in day-to-day interfaces. I've been looking at machine learning for quite a while, and I'm very much disappointed how we sell it as this magical thing that only a few rich people can use and only a few companies should use, and at the same time people are afraid of it. So I want to go through a few ideas what machine learning really is, what problems it has, what ethical issues are there, and what we can do as companies and as developers to make it more of a day-to-day thing that people trust rather than a thing that people revere as something amazing. So all the resources that I'm going to talk about are in this URL, so if you want to note one down, that's the thing to do. I also keep these up all the time because I keep changing this talk and adding things to it, so that's a good resource to keep coming back to, and it's very easy to just click on the things there. So let's talk quickly about artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is actually nothing new. The research of making a thinking machine has been going down to the 50s and 60s. So people started like, what can we do to make human intelligence simulated by a machine? And of course, the biggest problem is first of all, we don't know what human intelligence is. I mean, just look at the Twitter feed day to day or the news in the headlines. Intelligence is kind of gone at the moment, or is very much hidden somewhere. But there's actually, in psychology, there's like 14 different types of human intelligence. There's emotional intelligence, there's tactical intelligence, and all these kind of things. Which ones are the ones that what we want to simulate? It's now quite a hype, and it's very often misattributed. Everybody says they're doing intelligent stuff. Everybody's saying they're using AI in their things. And most of the time, it's just a clever SQL statement, finding the right data in a database. It's not real deep learning, not real machine learning. It's just a thing that looks more intelligent than it used to be. And it's an umbrella term for a lot of math and science around repetition, pattern recognition, and machine learning. And the only thing that is much different right now, why it became such a boost, is that hardware has become so good. Like GPUs and CPUs have become so much faster and so much cheaper to actually get out there and use a cloud platform to send your models to than it used to be. What used to be like weeks of a machinery that is the size of a room can now be run on your gaming laptop, and that's quite impressive if you think about it. So what we should never forget about is that machines are watching us all the time, and that sounds spooky, and it should be. We should be worried about this, but we're not, and that's a problem that I see. When George Orwell talked about Big Brother in 1984, he had this totalitarian state that would put cameras up everywhere and record us. And what he didn't actually foresee is that instead of having these machines or having the government implement those cameras, we bought them ourselves. So everything we do online is monitored and recorded. We often don't realize that our data is how we pay for these things. Every free system out there sees us as a data source, sees us as something to compare their information with, sees us as something as getting information in there. I remember when I used to work for Yahoo, and I worked on Flickr, and I worked on Yahoo Answers, and all these things. We built software with content in there. We hired editors, and we made people write things for us. Nowadays, most systems are just built there, and we hope people upload information and write things and use them to click and like and upvote each other. We don't even build systems with content anymore. We just use our users as our data source, and we make them addicted to updating. We make them addicted to clicking likes, and that's how we make money. And that doesn't make any sense to me. We should be still using the internet as this wonderful resource, this library of knowledge. We're happy to use systems that record all the time in exchange for convenience. Our mobile phones are recording all the time because it's convenient to say like, okay, Google, and the thing wakes up. Or Alexa, same thing. If 10 years ago I would have come to you and said like, can I put a microphone in your house that records everything and some random American company has that data and does something with it, I don't know what? You'd be like, no, go away. What if it tells you the weather? Okay, yeah, put the camera in my house, fine. You know, I don't understand this. I don't understand how we don't realize that there is a lot of like that we give to the thing for not much coming back. Often people don't realize just how dangerous this can be in the wrong hands, because it's not about that you don't have anything to hide. It's about a machine getting glimpses of information from you and making up a story around this information, and then you have to defend yourself against that. You can easily end up on a watch list of some American company or some American government department without wanting to, by some wrong information being understood wrongly by an algorithm. And this is where we need more transparency. This is where we need more input. We leave invisible marks. By using other people's machines and infrastructure, we leave traces. Everything gets recorded somewhere. That could be on the router, that could be on your ISP, that could be on the hotel wireless, this could be on the event wireless, so not fluking you out, but yes, it might be that this wireless has been compromised. We don't know. It can be all the time. And this allows companies to recognize us and accumulate a usage history. So we know how to become better for you by knowing how you use it. This has two sides. Of course, it feels weird that the company knows so much about me, but my mobile phone, for example, my smart keyboard knows how I type things. It doesn't just give me auto-completion for the word that I started, but it also knows that I use some slang words that it auto-completes for me. It realizes when I type in German, when I type in English with certain people, that it automatically switches to the other keyboard. So this is good and bad. But it leads to better results, but it can also leak data. The data can also go somewhere where you don't want it to go. And we should have more transparency about what digital legacy we left behind. A lot of companies cover their lower backside, is probably the term I should use, by allowing you to download an archive of what you put into their system and then hopefully plow through it. But I think there should be more upfront information to people like, by the way, we record everything you do, here's the benefit that you get from us, here is what we think you are. I think every ad platform should tell me what they think I am, and I can just tick off things that I don't want to have. There's no point in an artificial intelligence system that offers me things I don't want. I just bought a suitcase that has a lifetime guarantee. This means for my lifetime, I don't need to buy another suitcase, right? Every single ad that I see online right now offers me more suitcases. We should be more intelligent than that with our systems. So everything counts in large amounts in this kind of thing. We create a massive amount of information actively and without our knowledge, and it's tough to make that amount of information consumable again. I'm taking pictures all the time. I'm not tagging them anymore. I'm not describing them anymore like I used to do in Flickr. But I want to type dog in and find only pictures of my dog. So how do we make that happen? We have computers for that. And with cloud computing and demand processing and advances in hardware, we're faster than ever about this. So are machines friend or foe? Is it the machine that actually I should be worried about? Or is it okay if machines record us all the time? Do I even have an opt-out? No, I don't. Like, it always cracks me up when every time a company comes up, but we've got now facial recognition on our mobile phone. I don't want to have facial recognition. Then don't go to any train station. Never go to any airport. You've been facially recognized and recorded already somewhere. So it's really, and it doesn't help putting sunglasses on. That's not good enough anymore either. You can't even hide by basically being in a shower anymore, like in 2001 where they go in the shower and the computer can't listen to them anymore, because computers nowadays can do lip reading as well. You can actually get better subtitling in some videos by doing the lip reading rather than just checking the audio and turning that into text. AI can't replace a thinking, creative human. This is the last defense that we have. We are irrational as humans, and that's a great thing. That's how art happens. That's how creativity happens. Computers cannot do this. So when people tell us like, oh, there will be a thinking computer that takes your job away, probably, but not if you're a creative thinking human being. So we should start thinking about jobs that need creative thinking human beings, not jobs that are just repetitive, boring things for money. This is over. This has been over since 1910 when the first machines came out and actually replaced us. AI cannot magically fill gaps with perfect information. It can only make assumptions and tell us like, is that the right thing? Because these 3,000 other pieces are saying that would be the right thing. AI doesn't learn in a creative fashion. It just does not transfer. We as humans, we see something and we transfer it to something else. We remember things by comparing it to something that we already know, or singing a song in the back of our head, or maybe that's just me, or something else. We basically transfer knowledge to other environments, but computers don't do that. And it has no morals and no ethics. So if used wrongly, it amplifies our biases. So when you only have white, blonde people in your data set and people of color are not recognized by your camera, it's because you had a bias. You already taught the machine to be biased and not understand what humans are about. So machines can be great tools or weapons. Machine learning doesn't make any assumptions. It returns assumptions. It says like, I hope this is right. I hope this is the thing that you wanted. We don't get any definitive truth by algorithms. We get answers to our questions. And if our questions are super generic, then we get super generic answers. So to train a machine learning algorithm, to train a system properly, you have to ask good questions, simple questions that get one answer back. Untrained and limited data leads to biased results, and we had a lot of these problems in the past where colored people were flagged up as animals and these kind of things. It was not fun, it was not good. It's very easy to get either wrong deductions or false positives if you don't have enough data, and AI is as intelligent and good as the people who apply it. And this is again where the transparency comes in. If a thing is magical and does something for us, I want to know how it works. I was the kid that took apart everything in our house. I didn't know how to put it back together. My parents hated me for it, but this is how I became a programmer. Because programs I can take apart and put together again. It's much easier. It's much less messier than surgeons or something like that. Now, take for example facial recognition. Facial recognition is cool. It's really nice to unlock my computer by looking into my camera. It's really fun to actually see that my friends, once I tag them in one photo, it can tag in all the other photos, so I can just search for a friend and find all the photos in my data set. But there's a lot of information that, for example, our API gives you by facial recognition. You have the face rectangle, the landmarks in the image, the pose, the pitch, the yaw, and the roll. If it smiles, then it makes an assumption about the gender and the age, and this is already dangerous territory. So whenever we show a demo with where it guesses your gender, we make it 10 years younger, so people don't get annoyed. So it's actually always a good experience for people. Which type of glasses, if it's reading glasses, sunglasses, if it's got makeup, lips and eye, the emotion, anger, contempt, disgust, fear, happiness, neutral, sadness, or surprise. Really hard to use in Finland, I learned the other day. Almost impossible to see a difference between those. If there is a forehead, or an eye, or a mouth occlusion, like if people covered something up in their face, if there's facial hair and there's attributes, if it's invisible, bald, or the color of the face. This is all the information that I can give from one single image with one single API call. So I can use this for good, or I can use this for terrible things as well. I can use it for recognizing you, for allowing you to log in by looking into a camera. I can use it, for example, to recognize and verify people by taking a selfie. This is a video that Uber is using this in America right now. So you call your Uber driver, and then he takes a selfie of himself right now at that moment and verifies it with the recognized image of him, so you know it's that person that picked you up and not some random person that just sat there as an Uber driver. But you can take it too far. This is an API I found the other day by a company I'm not going to mention. That actually says it can find the ethnicity of a picture. Like, are you African? Are you European? Are you Asian? And I have no idea what sensible use case would come out of this. I cannot think of anything non-racist that this would be used for. And I talked to people at another conference, they're like, well, there's some medical research where you need to know the ethnicity of some people. And I'm like, yeah, but as a blood sample is much better than a face there, right? So it's great that we can do this, and they probably got some great investment because of it, but I think it's just unethical. It doesn't make any sense to offer something like that. There was another one as well where it said it recognizes from a photo if you're gay or not. I didn't know I was before I saw that thing. But it could be dangerous. If I were in Somalia, I would be shot now for being gay. So this is not a good thing to use this technology that way. So let's use AI for humans instead. Let's have this human-computer interaction on a much more human level where we can make mistakes and we can still get good results back. So we got AI for Good. There's a great program by Microsoft, by Google, by everybody. Everybody has these AI for Good programs where we do cancer research, we find crop problems in like harvests and all these really cool things. They all sound amazing. They all are fun as well. They all sound a bit like a press release to me and like science fiction. So I want us to get a bit further down the line and say, like, what can we do in day-to-day interfaces with these intelligent systems that we have to make the life easier for users to use our websites, use our apps? Good interfaces allow for fuzzy entries. People are terrible at giving you the right information that they want. They never type in the right things. We should be allowed to type in human things and to ask things in a human fashion. So humans are messy and prone to mistakes. Computers make no mistakes other than physical fatigue. It's always quite fun when, as a programmer, you know computers sometimes make mistakes themselves, but no, they don't. It's just you trying to find an excuse. Humans forget things and filter them by their biases. Our past is always much cooler than it was. Remember how cool you were in high school? No, you were not. Look at the pictures, you were not. But in our head, we're like the coolest people ever. Computers don't forget and don't judge. People judge depending on these old photos that they see, yes. Humans are bored when doing repetitive tasks. And when we're bored, we actually make mistakes. Computers are great at tedious, boring tasks. They love it, like, same data set again, great! Like, we're like, oh, same task to do again. Damn it, it's Monday. When bored, we create more errors. And this is why machines like robots in production are a great idea, because humans doing the same hand movements over and over again, they will make mistakes and hurt themselves. Computers don't hurt themselves. Computers repeat things with minor changes on iterations till the result is met. And humans have non-optimized communication with lots of nuances and misunderstanding. 60% of our language is body language and inflection. So when I just type to you and I try to be sarcastic, doesn't work. Unless I put like 16 emoji there and then I hope I understand what the person does and the emoji arrives in the same format as not some Samsung emoji that looks creepy compared to the Apple emoji that I send and whatever. Computers, on the other hand, have highly optimized non-nuanced communication, so they actually talk to each other in a much more optimized fashion. Now, humans and computers can work together on this. We can actually start having data, insight, and patterns from this erratic behavior of humans and computers repeatedly understanding that humans make mistakes. An erroneous entry of your end users at your product is not a mistake. It's an opportunity for a machine to learn, to actually give them the things that they came for. It's like, a machine should never tell me, like, you typed this wrong. If it's that close to another word, just make the other word and do the search with that one. Don't put the blame back to the end user. A great example is AutoDraw. AutoDraw is something Google released quite some time ago. If you're like me, you're artistically challenged and you basically cannot draw for toffee, you can do something like this and it recognizes that you want to paint some glasses. So you do the outline and it recognizes there's glasses up there, you pick one of them and bam, you got a perfect outline. This is a system that Google released. And the great thing about it was not that it's like a shape recognition thing and blah, whatever, that's quite easy to do, but it was trained by another game that they released where they asked people to doodle things and say what they are. So they had a game where people painted glasses in a wonky fashion and say like they are glasses, and then the deep learning algorithm went through all of them, compared them all with each other and said like this is what glasses look like. So by recording people's data, and I can give it back to people to make artistically challenged people like me able to do artistic things. And this is what I want all of our interactions with computers to be. Another great example is reCAPTCHA. If you have a form, you can use this to stop bots from submitting your information, and Google asks you to actually recognize images. It used to be like text that was from Google's books when they scanned wrongly, then it was street numbers for the street view, and nowadays it's cars and street signs, so their self-driving cars learn from it. So by giving people a system to protect their forms, they also train their artificial systems by getting data from these, and this is a great idea. AI services offer us lots of data to compare our user data with. So what comes out of reCAPTCHA goes back into the APIs of Google. What comes back from Google, from image search results in Bing. If you don't know Bing, it's a search engine, you can Google for that. This information goes into our data sets and our APIs. Our users don't need to speak computer, but can be human instead. And we can prevent them from making mistakes, stupid little mistakes. And we can help them getting around physical barriers. A blind person cannot see, so they need a descriptive image, a description of an image to see it or to understand it. So we have to type that in, or we have to use a computer to do that automatically. I'm running out of time, so I'm going a bit faster right now. So here's our toolkit for more human interfaces. The first thing is language and writing. The first thing we did on computers, why Chrome became such a massive success, was that it was the first browser to translate websites for us. So you can go there on a Swedish website, it says like, this is in Swedish, do you want to have it in English? And it translated it automatically for us. People in countries where the government locks down the internet, like America and other use that to translate websites from English to English. So the blocked websites were actually Google in this case, so they can actually look at them. So it was interesting to see. So the first one was translation, then natural language processing and language detection, and then we had actually human commands finding out tasks by analyzing text. So you can do things like how far I am from the capital of Denmark in Google Maps, and it will show you a map that you're actually that far from Copenhagen. I didn't have to say like, I want to go to Copenhagen or distant Stockholm, Copenhagen. You can you can put these things in there. Where do I find a good restaurant around here is also possible. Show me documents I wrote 5 days ago with over 600 words. These are all things that are in use by great systems out there, and your system should use those too or allow people to do these. Computer vision, when text wasn't cool enough, we added images to the media. And we often realized that people don't see them, so we need to do a description for them. And we should do this with computers, so we can turn an image into a data set by using another set of APIs. This is the best dog on the planet, it's ours. It's called Larry and Anke on Instagram. And when you drag this image of him into PowerPoint, you get an alt text saying a dog sitting on a sidewalk. This is already automated in the background for you in PowerPoint. Every single image upload should do this and tell people, is this describing what the image is? Boom, you got an alt text. You're legally required to have an alternative text on that image anyways, so use a machine to do it for you. You know, also, this was the other day somebody tweeted that thing, like that person. I totally forgot who his name was. If you have any tweet and you tag it with Vision API, Vision_API, it actually analyzes it and it says like, okay, that's Ed Sheeran standing in a room. Because it recognized this is a celebrity, it's a room in the background, and so on and so forth. Twitter should do this automatically, I think. And I think they're working on it, but they just haven't turned it on yet. So this is the API. You upload an image, it analyzes it, you get a lot of text tags, you get a description, you get also what it is, if it's racy content, if it's adult content, and so on. It also can recognize text in the image, of course. That goes back to fax times. We used to have that a long time ago. It can recognize handwriting, which is great, because I can't read my own handwriting. So that's sometimes a good thing as well. And it can recognize celebrities and also sites that people know. It's kind of broken because it doesn't recognize me as a celebrity, but we're going to work on that as well. Sentiment analysis is a very important thing as well. Finding out the sentiment, a text of a video or an image is sometimes a great thing for us to save your end users time. You can navigate videos by only going through the happy parts of a video, for example. You can detect which comments should be answered first by finding the bad ones, because people who are annoyed are the first ones to get answered, because then they shut up. Because if you don't answer them immediately, they keep asking. Whereas the happy people, you can actually send them a voucher or whatever. You can predict when drivers of cars get tired with sentiment analysis as well, because your eyes start closing and then you slow down the car, and less accidents are a good thing. There's a demo that my friend Susan Hinton has done, where you can basically overlay emoji depending on what your face is, so that's a great demo to play with. Speech, audio interfaces are all the rage. They're like the science fiction of AI thing. I talk to my computer and my computer knows what I'm doing. Hands-free control in cars is a big thing about this. And you have this always-on system that's there for you when you need it. Like, Jarvis, please deploy the Iron Legion or something. Or Alexa, please order toilet paper because I'm out of it. It feels natural, as a massive sci-fi feeling to it. There's text-to-speech and speech-to-text APIs, so you can speak into it and you get the data back, or you can type a text in and you can synthesize a voice for people to talk to. So that's a great, very human way of talking to the machine. Speech recognition needs a bit of training sometimes. You might have a weird accent like I have, and the machine doesn't recognize you immediately, or it's a Swedish person who has to pronounce the letter G or J, which is always quite fun. And then your machine needs to learn how you've done it. So there's a lot of systems where you can speak a lot of word in, or you upload a lot of your data, and then it learns the idioms that you use, the way you pronounce things, to recognize it properly. You have an interface where you can teach the machine to understand different commands, so turn on the lights, don't drive over this pedestrian, these kind of things. And there's a graphical interface where you can actually write your sentences and the audio that goes with it to do it properly. It's called LUIS. There's a great article by my colleague Berg Holland, The Rise of the Intelligent Conversational UI, if you want to read more about this. You can also recognize people in different audio files, so if they're known celebrities or if there's lots and lots of information already on the web about them, you upload a file and it says like, okay, that's that person speaking. And if you want to start recording yourself and become the celebrity yourself, you can also use this API to actually start recognizing the way you speak. The last thing I want to talk about before I go into the ethics of things is moderation. Some things are not meant to be consumed by people. There's a lot of stuff on the internet, and believe me, having worked for search engines, I've seen it all, that are not meant to be consumed by people. Computers don't need counseling once they saw them. They only need rebooting or deleting, but people should have counseling. And known illegal and terrible content should be removed. So artificial intelligence moderation APIs are a great way to make sure that your end users never see something on your site that they shouldn't see, and your moderation team or your QA team never has to look at things they shouldn't look at. So to wrap up, with great power comes great responsibility. We've heard that far too often. AI can be an amazing help for humans. It can allow us to be human in our input and get something back, and not learn to talk like a computer, not learn how to talk in keywords and like special quotes around terms like we had to do in search engines in the past. It does need transparency though. It does need that people understand that they're being monitored, that they're being recorded, and that the things are only so great as they are because they have been recorded. But they shouldn't be just an involuntary data source. They should know where the stuff is going. And when people get information filtered by an algorithm, there should be an opt-out. Twitter used to be exciting. Now it's just basically things I don't want. Content shoved in my face. I don't care about Kanye West and what he's done. Why is this in my newsfeed when I follow 4,000 people that I want to have information from? And people need to have a change to dispute when an algorithm tagged them as something. If I get automatically tagged at a party and people in the background are snorting cocaine, I don't want my image to actually be tagged there. I want Facebook to say, do you want this there? And I'm like, no, I really don't. So please don't tag me automatically. So if you want to go deep on this, there's an online course by Microsoft that gives you a certification in artificial intelligence. There's more resources on the link that I send out. So it is, to me, the next iteration of what computers are about and what computer and human interaction is about. So we should not all become AI experts, but we should know the ethics and the morals of it, and we should all use it in our systems today to make people not afraid of what's coming because it's already there. It's not even coming anymore. And that's all I had, so tack så mycket.
Thank you, Christian. It's all about the interfaces, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't really been thinking about that a lot, but it is. Do we have any questions from the audience? Just raise your hand.
It's a lot to take in. I actually, on my blog yesterday, I wrote a long post explaining all these things. So if you want to read that one up, christianheilmer.com. Lots and lots of things to read. And I didn't sleep, so please do.
A question.
Yeah.
There's a question from the audience. Please.
I'm a bit curious about your thoughts about the morality of you were talking about you don't want to show what's horrible.
Who watches The Watchmen? The classic one.
Exactly. Who
Yeah.
decides what's horrible for me?
I'll repeat the question so everyone gets it. Who decides, if we're to block the horrible stuff, who decides what's horrible for me or for someone else?
There is, mostly moderation APIs have a human part to it. So basically it gets verified again by you if you want to have it. What I talked about, and I have to put that question I get every single time, which is great, because I want people to question that. The APIs that I'm talking about are those that work together with like 12 different companies and Interpol that have illegal content, like beheadings, pedophilia, images that are illegal to see and illegal to publish. And they have a hash. So basically, by comparing the image that gets uploaded to that hash, it automatically gets deleted and never there. So I'm not saying that like an artistic picture from the 1830s where there's a naked woman should not be shown because you might be a right-wing American Christian that doesn't like these kind of things. That's a matter of you to consume that or not. I'm talking about real illegal content that people use on the internet that should not be seen by people. Because if you work for a video uploading website and you see like 12 beheadings a day, you're not going to go home happy. And you should not see this as a human person. So properly illegal content has been tagged and by law, by the government actually, or by different governments seen as illegal content can be automatically filtered out by these moderation APIs. But I'm totally right, just having swear words into something or artistic nudity, fine. You know, like it should not be, moderation should be something that is only there to protect humans, not to stop people from getting information.
Okay. Christian, you will be here during lunch break, right?
Yes, very much.
If we have any more questions.
I'll be here until this afternoon, so it's all good.
Great. Thank you so much for
You're
coming.
welcome. Thank you.